Portimao has arrived on the F1 22 game today. There was a patch 1.07 with a few further fixes to the game, but the major thing from this patch was the addition of Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix into the game as DLC. Now, you can play this in Grand Prix mode, multiplayer, and time trial. Right now, as it stands, there's no word on if it's ever going to be added in and playable in normal driver career mode or my team career mode, which I'm a little bit gutted at. I can understand why they've made the decision to maybe not have it playable in Season 1 at least, because of course, F1 22, it's the licensed 2022 F1 game. So, because Portugal was not on the original 2022 calendar, they can't put it in Season 1. It's not part of the original licensed calendar, but I feel like they could have maybe gotten away with subtly putting it as a choosable circuit in the customizable calendar from Season 2 onwards, because at that point then, Season 2 is technically 2023 in the in-game save, so you can maybe get around the red tape of it not being licensed as a 2022 circuit. I guess I think that's the only reason why they've not allowed it to be used in career mode from the get-go, because of that licensing of it's not actually an official 2022 track in the calendar, because it's available everywhere else. Grand Prix mode, time trial, multiplayer, you can have 2022 cars on this track. So it's definitely something I think they need to consider of how they go forwards with DLC circuits, future ones or onto the next game. Maybe on this game it was kind of, their hands were tied, but maybe going forwards they need to kind of really actually consider that as an option of adding these tracks in subtly into later seasons of career mode to actually allow a large part of the player base to actually play them a lot, because as a career mode player, I'm not going to be playing random Grand Prix modes of Portimao. Anyway, we get into here a 5-lap race because I wanted to see how the 2022 cars took to this circuit, because last year was a very tricky circuit, very challenging. It is a up and down literal roller coaster of a track, and I was curious to see also with the kind of very aggressive punchy AI that we have on this year's game how we would fare from the back of the grid driving as Leclerc and the Ferrari. So quite a tight affair in the first few turns, as it always was at Portimao. We're almost down back to last place as Latifi goes for a move. Bit of a contact ahead though, as Daniel Ricciardo is out this Grand Prix then, as he takes Vettel out with him as well in the Aston Martin. We gain a few positions that way up into P16 now. Still chasing after Latifi. I don't know what it is about Latifi's AI and myself as of late. We had plenty of him in the My Team career mode around Miami, and now we've got plenty of him right here around Portimao. We have to wait until the last sector to overtake as we go up and down this fantastic section, it must be said, here at Portugal. One of the highlights of this circuit really. But I don't know about anyone else who's tried this circuit yet for themselves in the game. I feel like for whatever reason, maybe it's the cars, the ground effects, or maybe they tweaked the track surfaces or the bumps, or slightly altered the circuit, I don't know, but it did feel a lot better with these cars on this game. Like, the car felt so much more planted. And even the rear end, we know the rear end's been a very, sensitive thing on this year's game, but compared to last year with the F1 2021 cars and game, I actually felt quite comfy around this circuit. Sector 3 especially, I didn't feel that worried about the back end stepping out. So, don't know if that's just me, a bit of a placebo effect maybe, or it truly is the ground effect, maybe sticking these cars to the road a bit more maybe, with that tunneling underneath these cars. But yeah, some good racing there as well, as we were kind of, in a 4-car battle, having to lift off a few times to finally make the move into turn 1, and now making the move on Mick Schumacher on lap 2 up into the top 10 positions, and now getting onto a whole gaggle of cars of Bottas, Norris, and then Ocon, I believe, in the Alpine. But for a second, let's go back to this DLC talk. So this is a free DLC. It just comes with patch 1.07. I'm not surprised it's free, and I believe Shanghai, which they have teased, the Chinese Grand Prix, is going to be coming later as DLC as well. I'm not surprised they're free, because there would have been uproar if they had charged for these circuits, because they were literally in last year's game. We know they've literally made these circuits. They have the circuits ready to go. It's not like they're making them from scratch again. But I do feel like for any future DLCs, let's say the return of Hockenheim, Nürburgring, other F1 circuits people want, classic F1 circuits, I think those we could probably expect to be paid DLC. For no other reason than EA now own Cody's. They're not going to pass on the opportunity to make further money and income off the player base after the launch of the game. I mean, that's classic EA. That's what they've done with all their sports titles. You know, mainly FIFA is a major thing, but unlike FIFA, F1 does not have an ultimate team mode where they can constantly make revenue. So where they can make revenue from extra circuits, I think they are going to in the future. The only reason I think this one's free and Shanghai is free is there literally would have been an absolute outcry and pushback if they were, because everyone, I think, is in the same feeling in both, that we literally had these circuits last year. You can't just remove them and add them back and charge for it, even though I think the argument is obviously they're not licensed for the 2022 calendar, so they could be within their right to, but obviously I don't think it's morally the right thing to do, because we literally were playing with these circuits last year. We know the coding's ready to go probably. All they need to do is retrain the AI with these new 2022 cars. So yeah, but this opens up now the door to new track DLCs trickling in. They've teased Shanghai, but, you know, when we were talking to Lee Mather on the launch of this game, on the build-up, you know, there was the vibe of maybe there's more to come later on in this game cycle. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what circuits, classic F1 circuits, or circuits you just want to see maybe come to life on the F1 game, what track DLCs would you want to see coming to either the F1 22 game or just in general in the F1 games in the future? Let me know in the comments below. And what do you make of this DLC? What do you make of Portimao not being included in career mode, just Grand Prix mode, time trial multiplayer? And are you in the same kind of mind as I said? You know, you're not surprised that this is free DLC, but do you believe and do you agree with me that I think probably we can expect anything other than Shanghai, other DLCs that are maybe coming in the future? I think they'll just, you know, it'll just be that classic microtransaction. They'll want to make more money off us post-launch, and they'll be charging for them. It's the same reason why I think they remove classic cars. I would bet you so much money that they're going to bring back classic cars next year or in a future F1 game, and they're going to make us pay for it. I just know it. It's just the vibe I get. You know, there was no reason to remove classic cars for this year's game. There literally wasn't, apart from maybe licensing. That pays, obviously, they have to pay for the license to get those cars, but you know, they had to do that before and they can do it again. I think they're going to bring it back and revamp it and make us pay for it as DLC. So, yeah, this opens up the door. This starts off the DLC train, and it's going to be interesting to see how this develops and where we're going to go from here when it regards to DLC on the F1 game. But this has been Portimao, then a 5-lap race. Just a quick look at this circuit, but to be honest, obviously, you know, it's not changed very much from F1 2021. Maybe just some new sponsor boards, and of course the new cars handle a bit different. Like I said, I truly believe the cars stick a bit better to the road on this year's game than they did on last year's game. But that has been a little video just to update you guys and show you Portimao as DLC for the first time in F1 22. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below about any of that stuff I asked about. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.